And I was surprised at how many people just didn't understand what profit was and what income and expenses and how it's all calculated and what you're taxed on and what you're not taxed on and what's deductible and what's not deductible. And here I am just thinking like everybody has to know this as a business owner, because you do. Somebody in your organization has to know these things, but it doesn't have to be you. And so the killer to your profit is that you have limited wisdom. You're limited in what you know, and you haven't branched out to fill that void with other people. All right, welcome back to the Know Your Numbers REI podcast. Your host, Chris McCormack. Grateful for you to be joining us. I trust you are well. Here we are entering into the holiday season. Fall is upon us. Winter is coming, but it is a great time to be with you. Great time to have you. Excited to be sharing with you today. Whether it's your first time or your 50th time, I love to know that some people somewhere out on this beautifully created earth are enjoying the content that we are producing. And so if you are enjoying it, if this is something that you like and want more of, please do us a favor and subscribe and share it with a friend, comment. If there's topics that you want to hear about, let us know. We'd love to hear from you. Today, we're going to be talking about the killers of profit, the biggest profit killers. Man, profit, it was told to me, and I guess I was communicating to a group of entrepreneurs and business owners early on in this business journey, and I was talking about financial statements and what income and expenses and profit was. And somebody there that's a wise business mentor of mine pretty simply summed up what I was saying as profit is the oxygen of your business. If profit is not in your business, you do not have oxygen, you do not survive. And I have prospects and have experience working with people making millions and millions of dollars a year in their business. They don't have a dollar to show for it because of this one issue, the issue of profit. It is a massive concern, but what I am going to be communicating to you today is that it can be very easily fixed. It's either going to make your business or break your business. You can set yourself up that will put you in the right direction to almost ensure and, dare I say, guarantee profitability in your business. But if you do these 5 things, your profitability will be destroyed. And so my hope is that at the end of this, you will take one of these 5 things or all 5 of them, one of them. I would encourage you to start with one. If you are lacking in any of these 5 areas, take one of them and make a change. All right. So we can get right into it. The biggest profit killers of your business. Doesn't matter if you're $1 million business owner, a $50,000 business owner, you sell products, you sell services. This applies to all. All right. So number 1 is lack of accountability. Man, your profit is dead because you haven't tracked it. You've never tracked it. You go week to week, month to month, year to year, basing everything off of a single bank balance. Everything you will, everything within you, your emotions, your decisions is dictated by a bank balance. That is not where we want to be. I understand many people start out and they put their money into a business bank account and they're just hustling to make ends meet, and they want to get those sales and those clients and those customers, and they don't have time to get set up with the finances of their business. But this goes on year after year, and next thing you know, you're 5-10 years into this thing, making millions of dollars, and you still are basing everything off of a bank account. And it's because you lack accountability. You're not accountable to anyone, right? You started the business on your own, and now you continue to run it maybe with more people, but you don't have the accountability necessary. And so my encouragement to those people who lack this accountability is to find the accountability. Surround yourself with wise counsel. Find ways to hold yourself accountable, whether it's you personally or another person helping you, either keeping the books or being like your CFO. Either of those things will increase your ability to make a profit, because when you're accountable to someone, you're more likely to follow through. When you're accountable to just yourself, you're not really accountable to anyone. And that's why faith in God is so powerful, because you can be alone and still be entirely accountable to the Lord of all creation, right? So you can hold yourself accountable to God, but I would encourage you to hold yourself accountable to someone else, whether it's your spouse, your business partner, a CFO. And I'm sure the stats and data would back this up. You are more likely to stick to a nutrition plan, a diet, or a workout plan, an exercise routine if you're doing it with someone. My wife and I have done this multiple times. We've done 75 hard. We've changed our nutrition. We've done 3-day fasts or cleanses, and we're much less likely to follow through on those things if it's just us that we're worried about keeping that covenant with. But if we're with someone else, if we're joined together in this, we know that we have to report to the other person, or we at least have the encouragement of the other person. We're lifting each other up, challenging each other. The Bible says iron sharpens iron. That takes two forces of iron to be working together and sharpening each other. And the same thing goes in business, right? You can be sharpened by the counsel, by the support, by the encouragement of another person. How can you be more accountable? You can set yourself up on a routine, right? You can set yourself up to do it more regularly. I think it's Robert Kiyosaki said something along the lines of accounting is the ability to hold yourself accountable in business. I don't know if he has something in Rich Dad Poor Dad that talks about the need for accounting to be that accountability measurement, right? And that's what the financial statements will tell you. It'll tell you how much money you're making and how much money you're spending, and that will hold you accountable. Your goals were to make $50,000 last month. What does the financial statement say? What does the profit and loss statement say? Did you do it? No. Why not? Where did you fall short? What happened? Your goal was to keep spending less on one-off purchases last month. Did you do it? Let's report. Let's find the financial statement. Let's find the profit and loss and determine that, right? So accountability happens through other people, but also by just getting yourself into the routine of understanding that the financial statements will hold you accountable. They are your friend. And so when you start to review the financial statements, your profit and loss statement in particular, you start to hold yourself accountable. And it's a way of measuring the performance of your business and how you're lining up related to the goals that you've set for. So number one, you just haven't had the accountability, whether it's in person or in tracking through the use of metrics and reporting. Number two, lack of systems, right? And this kind of goes hand in hand with that second part of part one. Lack of systems, QuickBooks, savings rates, profit first accounting. You don't have these systems that are game changing to a business owner's life. QuickBooks, it is a way of keeping up to date. If you don't have QuickBooks, then you don't have the accountability in point one, and you don't know where you're at from a financial perspective, from a performance perspective. And no wonder that you don't have profit, because you wouldn't know what your profit was if you had it, right? So QuickBooks is a game changer. It's a very quick and easy fix. I hesitate to tell you to do it yourself because I've also seen it go horribly wrong, but the investment that you would make in getting it set up properly with the professional is far worth it, because everything can be answered and you can derive so much information, so much clarity, so much confidence from just investing in QuickBooks and using it on a regular basis. Savings rates. You don't have a set savings rate, whether it's for taxes or profit, right? Profit first is the third part of this system, is putting rates to every category: profit, taxes, operating expenses, owner's pay. And if you don't have these systems set up, then you're not going to save anything in the profit account, and you won't have any profit as a result, because you'll be just going off of the bank balance. And what happens, I talked about it in an earlier podcast, but we had a prospect who is facing $100,000 worth of taxes. But in the conversation, he says that the tax return says that he and his wife made $400,000. And I don't know how that is if I only have $50,000 in the bank. And I'm like, I haven't looked, but it's probably because you're not tracking things. And you could very well be profiting $400,000, but using all that profit on personal expenses and things that don't necessarily offset your income, and you could owe $100,000. Now, I'll report back on whether that's true or not, but based on the facts that we've uncovered just through a conversation, like, these are the things that happen. Now, if you have the systems of QuickBooks and you have a savings rates, one, if you have the systems of QuickBooks, you know what your profit is because you're tracking it on a regular basis. So long as you're doing it properly and you're not taking an exorbitant amount of write-offs that aren't really write-offs and then have to be added back to your income and no longer deductible, that's a whole nother story. But if you have QuickBooks and it's being run properly, you know what your profit is. And if you have savings rates, meaning you're putting a certain amount of money aside for taxes and profit, then you don't have to worry about not having enough money in your bank account to pay taxes, right? So when I first got started, my recommendation was to just take your first 30% and put it aside, and that's the tax bucket. And take a 10% and put it aside, and that's your profit bucket. And now you're living off of 60%. And the profit first system says that there is psychology to this that makes it work. It's like when you first get the toothpaste and you open it, so you're not like too concerned about how much toothpaste you're putting on your toothbrush, but towards the end, you start to conserve a little bit more. And when you really get to the end, you squeeze out every last inch of toothpaste. And that's what it is with your bank balances in this profit first system, is that if you put 40% aside for taxes and profit and you're living off of 60%, it might sound crazy, it might sound impossible, but the psychology and the data tells us that you will actually make those dollars go as far as they will go in order to make ends meet and continue to grow in your business. It's wild. And the same thing is true if you have all 100% of that in your bank account and you're not doing those savings rate, you will just let those go as far as they'll go. And then it's time to make another sale. And that's what happens for guys like our prospect who's facing $100,000 in taxes, but only has $50,000 in cash. It's probably because he has been just operating on one bank account and doesn't have these savings rates or QuickBooks or Profit First implemented into his business. Number 3, no financial discipline. Savings rates are a form of financial discipline, but another area is spending. Maybe you spend far too much. You get money and you spend it just as quickly, if not quicker. And this is a greater threat to us because we have so much access to capital and credit that we can spend money even though we don't have it, right? I hesitate to say that's good. I think you need financial discipline in order for that to be good. So like here in the States, we have an economy that is largely based off of the movement of money, right? Banks charge interest to loan you money. You can buy pizza in installments, right? So we've created this economy that's based off of a very lending first economy. And that might sound great because people can get access to money that they might not have had access to if they're lower income. But the reality is it ends up causing a lot more problems. You're overburdened with debt. Those people who now have access are paying large interest rates just to make up for the money that they spent, right? And so in order to combat that, we need to have financial discipline. We need to be able to have the self-control necessary to not spend more than we make and to not invest, even if we call it investing, not invest extravagantly when we only have a certain amount of money and we're only making a certain amount of money. We know and we serve a lot of growth-oriented people, and we are growth-oriented ourselves. But a lot of times we get into problems when we're so growth-oriented that we're like, we need to buy this and that and this and that and this. And then we don't have any more money to pay our rent, to pay the lease, to pay the mortgage. And so before you go investing in that piece of equipment, I see this a lot in like the med spa or the medical practices area. The people that we work with there's always this new technology that can generate a lot of money, but it can also cost you a lot of money, right? Because you're gonna have to finance it, because these are like 6-figure pieces of equipment and you have to pay a certain amount every month to just keep up with it. And there's no guarantee that you're able to make that much money, and you have to make more than that much money in order for it to make sense from a profitability standpoint. So it does take financial discipline. You have to be able to make decisions, sometimes hard decisions. You have to maybe put off that focus on growth and that new piece of equipment in order to make sure that your employees are paid, or you yourself are paid, or you can meet the mortgage at the end of the month or the start of the next month, right? And so financial discipline can cause massive problems. Limited wisdom. So this goes hand in hand with the lack of accountability, right? I say that the accounting is the way of holding yourself accountable. Financial wisdom, being limited in wisdom, means that you're just trying to do it all on your own. And this gets in the way of so many business owners, myself included. I have fallen into points in my life where I am better off handing the task or the project off to someone else, but I choose to do it myself instead. And when my time and my energy and my efforts could be better put to more valuable tasks or projects, right? And so the same thing is true here in the financial space, is that you try to do it yourself and you try to make all the decisions yourself, try to keep track of things yourself, and try to hold yourself accountable. But that's too much of a burden for you to bear while growing your business, while thinking about the next stage of growth and who you're going to hire and how are we going to get more revenue. And these are decisions that you as the business owner are responsible for. And so to think that you should also be trying to keep up on the finances and make sure every dollar is accounted for and make decisions and keep the reporting up to date, like that's too much. And you're causing yourself to be a bottleneck for your organization. And sometimes you just don't know what these numbers are talking about. Like I said in that first presentation I ever gave in my professional career as a business owner, it was to a lot of high income business owners, specifically in the faith area. And I was surprised at how many people just didn't understand what profit was and what income and expenses and how it's all calculated and what you're taxed on and what you're not taxed on and what's deductible and what's not deductible. And here I am just thinking like everybody has to know this as a business owner, because you do. Somebody in your organization has to know these things, but it doesn't have to be you. And so the killer to your profit is that you have limited wisdom. You're limited in what you know, and you haven't branched out to fill that void with other people. We work very closely with a CFO partner, and the wisdom that she is able to provide some of our business owners is just astronomical. And like, it changes the trajectory of their business. It changes the financial business position of these business owners, because she's able to come in here and say, these are what the numbers are telling me. This is what we have to do in order to improve them, in order to get to that next stage of life and business. And whether it's a CFO, whether it's a bookkeeper, whether it's a tax planner, you have to be surrounding yourself with wise counsel in order to get profit back into your business and expand the profit, right? Because you could have profit, but it's probably not as high as it could be, and that could be holding you back. The fifth is just a mindset. And so rather than focusing on this one, I want to really help you just take that first step. Change the narrative, right? Change your mindset. Profit is the lifeline. It's the oxygen of your business, and it's achievable for anybody. I guarantee it. Anybody can profit in their business by holding themselves accountable, by creating systems, by increasing their financial discipline, increasing their level of self-control, a fruit of the Holy Spirit, right? So if you're not faith-based, go in and get to know God a little bit more and start to understand that discipline is a good thing. It's a gift from God, and self-control is actually a fruit of His Spirit, and it can guide you through this business journey. Number 4, limited wisdom. Surround yourself with wise counsel. But 5, too, change the narrative, change your mindset, right? There's so many mindsets around money, whether you never have enough or you just need that next best thing or you're never going to get there, right? Those are all related to the mindset. These are not based off of physical evidence. A lot of it happens in the spiritual, the mental, the emotional world. And so it's on you to really take that next step and change the narrative. Wherever you are, just start where you are. You don't need to fly blind. I would encourage you to hold yourself accountable. Say, I'm going to change this one thing. I'm going to get QuickBooks. And not only am I going to get it, but I'm going to check up on it every month or every week or every other week. I'm going to hire a bookkeeper. I'm going to hire a CFO. I'm going to hire a tax planner. Those are all steps in the right direction that can help bring this oxygen back into your business and expand what you're capable of. Because a little shift can change the trajectory of your business. Profit is the oxygen of your business. You can breathe more with the more profit that you have. I'm telling you, and you will see for yourself if you can implement this today. Until next time, God bless you guys. Keep moving forward.